is sex addiction? Sex addiction is real, but it's not necessarily anything you're going to find in the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Health. And it's a hotly debated topic right now, whether sex addiction is a real addiction or not. I promise you, for the couples that come to my office, the pain is real, and it is an addiction, as I described in a previous video. Do I have a problem? So check that out if you haven't watched that. There are some really good resources out there, books on title like My Brain on Porn, and the chemicals and the biology of sex addiction and how it triggers the very same parts of your brain, the prefrontal cortex, the enkephalin, endorphin, the dopamine dump that most any addiction. And so right now in mental health and mental health forums, there's debate whether it is or isn't. I'm not here to debate that today. I'm here to give you information and you come to your own conclusions. Now, you are listening to this video because you are a truth seeker, and I encourage you to be a believer. Our life experiences do form and shape who we are, but also to continue to be a truth seeker. It doesn't have to be either or, but be an and be hungry for information, be hungry for truth. So you listening to this video proves you're that type of person. So I congratulate you in that. So the sex addict generally has a very high or abnormally high desire for sex. Now that may be with someone, by themselves, with self-sex or masturbation. It may be pornography. It may be just acting out sexually to get that fix, that enkephalin and dopamine brain dump to what we call the prefrontal cortex. So, and I've also, over the years, have realized people with a true bipolar disorder have an abnormally high sex drive. So if you are someone or a partner that struggle with sex addiction, you may also want to do some research on bipolar disorder. I find those two can connect and help explain why this person has not been able to stop when maybe they've been in recovery for weeks, months, or years. There may be some bipolar stuff going on, so check that out. The addict generally has a lying behavior. They lie a lot. Behavior does not match their words. One of the things we teach here is believe behavior. Do not believe what the addict says, because the addict will always judge themselves by their intentions, not by their behavior. The relationship might just be about sex. There's no depth, there's no intimacy outside the bedroom. It's just about sex. Okay. Now, a little bit different side note here is a love addict. Generally, the addiction, the love addict, is all about the relationship, or can be known as relationship addiction. They might enjoy sex, but that's not the primary focus, and they may bounce from one relationship to the next, to the next, to the next. Also known as codependency, is a form of relationship addiction. Next, they also may have no interest in sex, because with you primarily, because they're getting their sexual needs met outside the relationship with someone else. They can get into massage parlors, pornography, anonymous sex with even the same sex, what's known as the same-sex attraction. They may not consider themselves homosexual, but just have acted out, trained their bodies, their brains to the male or the female anatomy versus their heterosexual partners. So that also can be present. The time and money of the sex addict is unaccounted for, unexplained where they're spending their time or their money. Masturbation is another form that they're sexually stimulating themselves to something or someone else outside the marriage. And a lot of couples or sex addicts got in a relationship, got married, and then figure, once I'm married, I'm going to stop masturbating. But masturbation has actually continued. Let me talk a little bit about pornography. So pornography by itself, or masturbating to pornography, is also very toxic and dangerous to keeping a healthy relationship with a monogamous or married partner. Now, pornography can be traditional pictures. It can be books, DVDs, fantasies, but it's also books, what I mean by Daniel Steele or 50 Shades of Grey. These are all what I call female porn. Grooming behaviors, the sex addicts all into grooming, giving their time and attention to another relationship for the outcome of having sex with that person. We also call this in our culture right now as a hookup culture. And also what's going on is this thing with erectile dysfunction. Okay, there's what's now known as pornographic induced erectile dysfunction for the men and porn-induced arousal dysfunction for the women, in that they're trained their brain, because your main sex organ, by the way, is not your penis or vagina, it's your brain. Your brain is your main sex organ. So whatever you think about, fantasize about while you're being sexual with yourself or others is what you sexually glue to. But luckily, the brain has plasticity and can be retrained, and that's what we work on here with our clients. Now, sobriety, as we define it, is very black and white. We recommend no porn in any of its forms, no masturbation, especially to pornography, and then finally, no sex outside of marriage or a monogamous relationship. Finally, take the assessment on the website, see for yourself or your partner. It's a 20-question assessment that's going to help clarify if you or your partner is struggling with sex addiction.